Hi, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to all participants in Malaysia. So today we also have participants from China. Good afternoon as well. And not to forget our participants from the United Kingdom. Good morning to all of you over there. So welcome to our series of webinar under IEEE PAS Malaysia. I am Norfadilah Abdul Aziz from IEEE PAS Malaysia. So thank you for joining us today. So today we are having a woman power talk entitled Women Empower Women Fostering Leadership and Success. So quick reminder, before that, all our events are on Facebook and YouTube. So please like our Facebook channel and also subscribe our YouTube channel so that you can find out and join our future events as well. So for today's event, don't forget to fill in the attendance form. Will be posted at the chat box, either Facebook or YouTube, so that you can get your certificate as well. All right. So before we start our webinar today, let me give you a very brief introduction on IEEE PAS. Okay, let me share my screen. All right. So my screen is over there, right? Okay. So IEEE PAS. So PAS is actually means Power and Energy Society. So IEEE, I think many of you already know what is IEEE. IEEE, or Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineer, is an international professional association for electrical and electronics operating in New York City. And this institution has reached globally, and it have thousands of members and cover more than 160 countries. All right, so PAS is actually under IEEE along with other 37 technical societies, where PAS is the second largest technical society in the IEEE. So what is the benefit that you can get when you join IEEE? So PAS has conducted many activities and events which can provide resources for training and learning activities, such as the online webinars, the on-site training and workshop, the technicals, journals, and as well as the basic concepts for industry novice. All right, so for IEEE PAS Resource Center, members can have access more than 1,400 items, where everything is under one place, where you can get the tutorials, videos, technical reports, and etc. easily. Okay, so other than that, by joining PAS, you can also increase your network, since PAS has global engagement through local chapters, where we have 10 regions altogether, where Malaysia is under region 10, as you can see the orange color over here, right, along with other countries like Australia, Singapore, China, Japan, and etc. Okay, so here are the IEEE PAS Malaysia chairs. And as you can see, I'm very proud to see these two women here as the past chairs. We have Emeritus Professor Dr. Azhar, in 2004. And we have Professor Dr. Zohaina Zakaria in 2016. And currently, Prof. Hazli Mukhlis from University Malaya is the past chair. Okay, so this past chair is either from industry or academician. All right, so what we did, okay, so we have conducted lectures, conference, and we're also giving awards for outstanding engineer, where in order for you to receive this award, you must be an IEEE PAS members, right? We also have make networking with industries, final year project awards, and other than that, you can also get funding or grant from IEEE, such as for humanitarian activities, for education, and etc. Okay, so join us today. Okay, so in order to be an IEEE PAS member, you need to join IEEE PAS. You need to join IEEE first. Alright, so for student, you can get the free PAS student membership for 1 year. So if you have already renewed your IEEE membership this year, you can take this advantage to be the PAS member as well. Okay, so I think that's all about IEEE PAS. So let's join and come, join us, right? You can contact us at from using email, or you can go to our website, or you can go to our Facebook as well. Don't forget to like our Facebook channel. All right, this is the Executive Committee for IEEE PAS Malaysia chapter for 2021. All right, that's all for the introduction. Okay, so now Dr. Zai, okay. So now I would like to pass over the session to our moderator today for the webinar, which is Dr. Zai Fatimah Ali. She is the senior member of IEEE and currently is the chair for IEEE Women in Engineering 2021. She is from University Tenaga Nasional, UNITEN. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Zai to continue the session. Over to you, Dr. Zai.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Nafadila, for the brief introduction. We have very fortunate today because we have two beautiful, powerful, and successful women leaders in our forum today. So let me introduce these two beautiful women. First is our first speaker is Dr. Vimi Ramasamy, fondly known as Dr. Vimi. So I will call Dr. Vimi. All right. So Dr. Vimi is a founder and also the CEO at Stravik Business Consulting. She was the first Malaysian female MD for the MNC company, which is Malaysia operation at IHS Market Global. In 2018, Dr. Vimi was appointed by Prime Minister as one of the 11 independent committee members to review the foreign workers management, and she also sits in the Malaysian Human Resource think tank driven by the Ministry of Human Resources. Right, in 2019, she named as one of top women leaders of University Science Malaysia (USM) during the 50th Women's Day celebration. And Dr. Vimi is now actively engaged with USM as industry panel for technical review committees and a talent advisor panel for Talent Corp. And our second speaker is Miss Nurashikin Jamil. She is the MIT, a member of IET. She is now the senior power system engineer at Mott MacDonald at Glasgow, UK. She received BEng honors in electrical and electronics engineering from the University of Strathclyde, UK. Before she joined McDonald's Transformation Distribution Division in Glasgow. She used to work for Japan Victor Company and also Advanced Power Solutions in Malaysia. Her job scopes include lead study engineer and project manager for various EMT analysis during computer simulation projects around the world. She is an active member of SIGRE UK and currently sitting as an expert in one of the various working groups, technical committee. And she is also actively involved with advocating engineers to younger generations, providing talks and workshops as part of being a STEM ambassador for West Scotland and as a member of IET. All right, so those are our two beautiful, powerful, and successful women. All right, so without further ado, let us start with asking Dr. Vimi and Dr. Shikin about the career journey and also the beginning and where they are now. All right, how about we start with Dr. Vimi? What was your motivation in taking up engineering field, especially during your time when there was scarcity of women choosing this field?
Thank you so much for the introduction, Dr. Zai. Good afternoon again to all the folks out there, and also my fellow speaker, Ms. Shikin, and also Dr. Fadila earlier. I thank you very much for having us here. I'll just jump to the question: what drove me to take up this? And if I want to share that, you have to take a look at my story. So this is going to be a bit of my story that I will relate to on what drove me to come here. So if you see this slide, this is the slide of my family. I have a tiger dad, real tiger dad. And if you see, we have I have two sisters, one older, one younger, and a brother. The important thing that I wanted to tell you about is in my family, thanks for bringing up the slide again. The important thing that I want to tell you is at that time, where women very scarce to go into engineering, I've never experienced gender discrimination in our family. So our parents thought everything was equal for me and my sisters and my brother. My mom was a domestic engineer. So we were trained on the same thing. We had to cook, we had to clean. When I wanted to learn how to drive, I had to learn how to change the tire. So in that context, my father didn't have us the boundary that engineering was only for men. So I never had that differentiation. And then if you see from there, we have these values, right? I really believe that as whatever that we decide to do, the decisions are driven by our values. And the values normally comes from our family and our upbringing. And for me, the values are family, integrity, and commitment. And that's the reason I showed with you all the pictures of all the family that I'm married right now and what drove me to engineering. If you go to the next slide, I want to share with you that the background is the same with most people who were in 1980s, 1990s going to school, where I had a lot of elocution, we were the prefects board, we were doing dancing, we were having fun, we were doing chemistry project, nothing much difference. But the difference was in our mind. What is it that we want to achieve? If you go further, one of the driving force was I was very close with my brother. And I was very inquisitive. Apart from doing these activities at school, my back at home activities was fixing problems on things like radios, like TVs, and those kind of stuff, right? So that actually drove me in taking up engineering. So if you go on to other slides, I can just show with you. This was my engineering journey, sharing with you that I worked as an engineer. I'm graduated from USM as well, electrical electronics. And I worked at Intel at doing equipment development. It's a very niche position where I actually help to customize the design of the machine that tests all the microprocessors. And that's what I did for 17 over years. And these are all the families. When I say this slide, why I wanted to share about the family values earlier is as I grow in the career, my team, my colleagues became the family. And that is the power that we have, right? Although mostly, even when you see, there's a lot of different diversity in the pictures. But when I have a team, mostly they were guys. And when we have function, we insisted that they bring their spouse along. So we have more females to be with me, right? So I have, that's the thing that we have. So pretty long answer, but that's exactly what drove me to engineering. This is probably a quote that I really appreciate that I wanted to share today. There's a special place in hell for women who don't help other women by Madeline Albright. And I know it brings a laugh, which is so very important to me. And I'm really very excited to be here with all the ladies here and with all those folks are listening. Of course, we're not discriminating men, but that's it.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Vimi. Well, I don't want to be in hell, so okay. Now that's why we are here, so that we can help other women and empower other women. All right. So, what why did you decide to leave a managing director position, which many will sort out after to start up your business?
Okay, that's a good question. Many people have asked me, they think that I'm crazy nut, right? But I have to tell you, again, it's driven by my values of commitment, of integrity, of family, right? When I took up the role, I did that. There were some principles which were not aligning to me. And I decided that, hey, I need to take a break. I'm going to quit. And I want to focus on something else. And that's exactly what I did. And the important thing that I wanted to share here is when you reach a certain position or whatever it is, or while you are going in the journey, it is very important that we know our values and we follow what is it that we want, because that, I believe, will give you the happiness. And now I have never regretted. Of course, now I get to decide who I want to work with, what I want to do. Although I was an MD, but there's always other people on top, right? So now I have a free rein in doing whatever I like to do. And that's the very reason. And of course, that allowed me to spend some time with my tiger dad, who passed away last year. And I felt that it was good that I had enough of time to spend with him during his last stages.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Vimi. My condolence to your late father. All right.
you.
Now, Nurashikin, you obviously represent a slightly younger generation from Dr. Vimi, but the same question applies. What makes you choose engineering and the field that you are now?
First and foremost, thank you very much, Dr. Zai, IEEE PGSWIE, for inviting me today. It's definitely an honor to be part of this event and to get to know all of you, especially at the background, all the ladies at the background running this event. And especially it's an honor to meet Dr. Vimi. People should know that her presence, you can feel her presence, even though it's virtual. It's an honor. Dr. Zai, I think my journey is quite different with Dr. Vimi. She knows what she wants to be right at the start, but my journey into engineering is rather quite a funny coincidence. So I came from a secondary institution that put women and science synonym with physics, with health sciences. So I've set in my mind that I want to be a doctor or a pharmacist or all those all those career things that towards that health sciences. So, but at the turn of event, I'm one of those unlucky ones. 1997 SPM leavers that got university applications missing. It's quite scandalous that year. Yes, I remember my only thought was I need to get myself into any university. So I'm quite desperate, and I know some of my friends already being accepted into university. So I know that I'm going to be fighting for a very small spaces that will be left. So what I did is I strategized and I looked into a diploma program first, because I thought, okay, with my qualification, I can get into any diploma level entry, and then I will work my way from that from there on. So I think that's the start. So I chose UiTM. It's not that UiTM is not any stranger to the family, because my mother and sister both came from the same institution, and then but I still don't know what to do at that time. But I wanted to do something fancy. So I thought engineering sounds too fancy. I was just like, okay, let's do that. Electrical power engineering sounds fancier. So I was like, okay, let's do that. So I think that's the start of my engineering journey. It's not from the start, but rather I think a beautiful fate, a beautiful coincidence for me. And then I sailed through the program. I was awarded the best student for the program, which allowed me to get a scholarship to get me to pursue my undergraduate degree. So I think that's when I met, I think, Dr. Pauzi Abdullah. He is, I think, the current director of CES UTM. He introduced me, and I met Prof. Zohaina. She was the lecturer in UITM. And I think, I met these great people that get me to be and then to be liking in doing engineering. Just to let you know, I never met a woman engineer before in my life, not until I become one. so my role model at that time was a teaching engineers. All my lecturers, I saw them as a very smart human being. So at that time, I still doesn't want to be an engineer. I thought I will be a very good lecturer with all my results and all not and whatnot. But meeting these people, these great people, Dr. Pauzi, Dr. Prof. Zohaina, I think they drove me. And then Dr. Pauzi introduced me to one of these company in Malaysia. They're doing power system consulting. So and that's where on the 5th year of my engineering education, I decided, I do not want to be a lecturer. I want to be a power system consultant. So that's what I am today, and I think that's the beginning. I think I jumped too much into the what's going me into career, but yes, I am. Let me introduce myself. For those who I've never met before, my name is Nurashikin Jamil. So this is a little bit. I should have introduced myself first, isn't it? I would like people to know me as a passionate person, a happy person, those who sees life as a glass always half full, Muslim woman. So that's what I like people to know me. I'm of course with that woman that I carried on my shoulder. I am also a daughter, a sister, a rather cheeky one to my family. I'm a friend, I'm a wife, and I'm a mother to two beautiful children, a boy and a girl, a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old girl, a 10-year-old boy and an 8-year-old girl. So I'm currently residing I'm born and bred in Malaysia, but currently for the past 10 years, I've been residing in the UK. I think that should be sums up my introduction of myself, some little background, and what drive me into doing engineering.
All right. Thank you,
Yeah.
Shikin. I think we have almost the same fate.
Yes.
Like you, I also want to be a doctor, but at the end end up in the engineering. But I think
and loving it, Dr. Zai, and loving it so much.
But I think maybe because of I'm same as Dr. Vimi, I like to fix things and I like
Yes.
to explore things. So maybe it is the fate that I am becoming engineer in engineering field also. But of course, I don't become engineer. I am teaching engineering in university. All right. So Miss Shikin, it is a wonderful coincidence that I had an opportunity to work along you about 12 years ago in the
Yes.
APS.
Yes.
Before you left for the UK. People usually look for a positive posture new to a new company, but you seem to choose a totally different country as well. So, what drive you, and is there any difference in working culture since now you have experienced both in Malaysia and also in the UK?
Oh yes, I think that's the usual question that I get from friends and back home. Definitely, there's a different in working cultures. We are two different. We are Asian, and then I'm right now working with most Europeans. So that's that's the name itself already tells the differences and the values that we support. But I think the one thing that most obvious is the working hours. Although the working hours is similar in both countries. It's 8 to is whether it's 8 to 5 or 8:30 to 5:30 or 9 to 6. It's similar, but I think the late working hours is a norm in Asia as opposed to what in the UK. I remember I was asked to go home when the time's up, and it's like, you're not going to stay here, you need to go home, be your family. So that's I think that is the most difference, I think, that I can relate, and I think one of it is how they support women, especially those in maternity, once they seek for maternity. In Malaysia, I think it is. I'm not sure what's the current regulation at the moment. But last time, 10 years ago, when I gave birth to my son, before I came to the UK, I was only given 2 months to embrace my motherhood. It's quite tough for us first time mother, but but maternity in the UK, we are given a year. 6 months ordinary maternity leave that you are given that time to embrace your motherhood. But at the same time, I think as the UK government approach of saving money because childcare is ultra expensive in the UK. So that's, I think, it's a pro and cons. People sometimes leave their job because they can't afford childcare in the UK. So I think it's what's the government initiatives, I think, actually giving that quite a long period of maternity leaves. I think other than that, engineering field is quite global. Wherever you go, you're gonna meet the same type of people. You're gonna do the same, because we stand on the same foundation, so it doesn't change. And I think there's always pro and cons everywhere, but it's that's I think that's the only big differences that you can see. Yes, back to you, Dr. Zara. Yes.
Thank you.
Probably
Nurashikin.
just to answer Shikin's question regarding the maternity leave, right?
Yes.
Right now, thank God, I think they are moving up to 3 months. In
3
fact, my
months.
previous company, IHS Market, we started with 6 months maternity leave.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Usually in US, I was working in US for cumulatively about 7 years.
Yes.
US is
Uh-huh.
even is about 4 to 6 weeks only.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right. UK is more family oriented.
Yeah, I think the Nordic countries are really much more family oriented.
Yeah.
Indeed. And the maternity leave is not only for women, but it was given to the parents. Yes, so both men and women can take time off to take care of their
True.
younglings. So it's wonderful. I think it's so good. If Malaysia wanted to move that way, I think it's a very good example to take on. Yes.
Definitely something we are preaching.
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully, because we want more women to be in the field and not leaving
Yes.
the field just because of having children and needs to take care of the children.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. So okay. I think
And the world needs more girls like you growing up to lead our parliaments and our boardrooms and our courtrooms and our universities. We need you.
There was a time when women social activists asked men to stand up for their rights. But this time, we will do it by ourselves.
And the more I've spoken about feminism, the more I have realized that fighting for women's rights has too often become synonymous with man-hating. If there is one thing I know for certain, it is that this has to stop.
For too long, women have not been heard or believed if they dared to speak their truth to the power of those men. But their time is up.
Human rights are women's rights, and women's rights are human rights once and for all.
Because I'm a woman. Phenomenal woman. All you women and me.
Wow, that's a very
empowering.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's very empowering. All right, so now it's time. Let's move to our theme today. Women empower women, fostering leadership and success. Okay, for the audience, we're gonna have like a question session, a few question sessions. So I will ask the two speakers to share their experience, and between those, you can ask question. So you don't have to wait until the end of the session to ask question. So you can ask any question in between, and then your question will be read in between the session. So please, if you have any question, just write in the chat box, and then your question will be displayed on the screen. All right. Okay. So for Dr. Vimi and Nurashikin, how do you define women empowerment? Maybe Dr. Vimi first.
Sure. As the video came by just now, right? It's a basically human right. We never say men empowerment, right? Because they have already empowered themselves. So I'm sure there are men listening to us, but I wanted to share with you that in my mind, a very important thing is women empowerment is giving back the human rights to women. Firstly, women need to be aware of their own value, their capability. Second, they need to be heard. They need to have a voice. Third, they are able to make their own choices. Fourth, they are able to influence social changes for themselves and also for others. If you see, to me, women empowerment means justice. I picked up this slide from ASU, and it really represented the human rights, especially for women, which refers to the justice part. If you see on the first top left-hand corner where you see the tree and the apples and two people sitting there, you can see on the right, I would say is a woman. Inequality because we are standing at the side where the apples will not fall. So what they do, they actually give us the same tool. They give you the ladder. If you look at the right, they give you the same tool and opportunity. And they think that you can reach the apple. But the thing is, the tree is not siding to us. Then what they said, okay, let's fix the equity. We give a shorter ladder for the men because they can reach it earlier. We give a longer ladder for the women. But the fact of the matter is all the fruits are one side. And that is the problem that we face. So if you see justice, if you see in women rights, we are talking about substantive equality. We're looking at justice, which means I give you the tools which are appropriate for your needs. Just like just now Shikin says, right? Like women needs to go through maternity. Men do not need to do that. But what are we doing differently to make sure that we protect their health? We support them so that they become reproductive. We can achieve the highest potential. And if you look at it, all this, it's not only for the betterment of the women itself. It's actually for the betterment of the whole entire universe, because we act on reproducing as well. So if women are good, they are healthy, they can achieve good potential, they are going to nurture good children, healthy, right? And if they are intellectual, they are also going to support to the economy. So it's a win-win, equal, peaceful, and prosperous stuff. So to me, that's why this slide is very important, that it is justice to me that women needs to be given the right access, the right opportunity together with the equity so that we can be at par with any gender, right?
Wow. All right. Thank you, Dr. Vimi. Yeah, we should have the same ladder, and the tree has to be fruits at both sides, not only one side, right? All right.
Yes.
So, Ms. Shikin, what
Yes.
define the empowerment?
For me, I think right now I feel like a very powerful sidekick to a very powerful crusader, Dr. Vimi. So let me just compliment what you said just now, and I truly agree, and which is justice is the creed of women empowerment. But additionally, for me, women empowerment is acceptance. Acceptance of us as a person of the same mental ability, and accept those emotional intelligence skills that we women carry the most. And for example, we are those human beings that carries out empathy and that our infamous interpersonal relationship skills. Women empowerment is accepting us. That carries all these, it won't take away our intelligence and won't take away an analytical ability. So I think that's women empowerment for me. Accepting us as who we are.
Brilliant.
So why do you think that women empowerment is important, especially in engineering field where it is dominated by men?
Dr. Zai, I think the easiest answer lies in the question itself. Engineering has been prevalently a male-dominated world for the longest of time. Don't you like keep questioning yourself? Why? Why is it there's no women in the field? Why is there not any women interested in doing it? So it will be like for Dr. Vimi, I don't think she said she doesn't really feel that discriminations at that time, isn't it? But but of course, for other people, they might be there's a barrier for them going into this field. So women empowerment or that accepting or giving justice to women to go into this field is very, very important. Yes, I think as the world moving towards diversity and equality, where many women want to be professionals, like for the UK, I give you the example of the UK. We have about 26% women in the engineering courses, but only 11% are women professionals in the UK, are women engineering professionals. So where does the another 13% gone? So that I think why women empowerment need and very important in engineering. So that we must make sure that 26%, that's already small number, can make their way into the field. Yes. So that I think that's why I think women empowerment in engineering specifically is very, very important. Right,
so let me give you the Malaysian perspective.
Yeah.
So in Malaysia, we have a little bit different compared to UK. Where UK, we have to really encourage a lot of women students going to science. In the past 5 years, I'm sure you have read in newspapers, we have 60% of university graduates who are STEM related and students. The problem is they come in, they start the engineering career, but they taper off in between. So we have a dip. And other countries, there is opportunity. Typically, we see the dip. They call it an M curve because you see it coming up. But in Malaysia alone, the coming up is very small. A lot of it happens is because when people start their family, They take a break to take care of their family. But because we do not have that kind of a support system and a lot of awareness, right? And that is one of the reasons we see that tapering off. And you come to see the leadership level. There's very, very few women, especially in technical field. Just like as what Nurashikin mentioned, we need the women empowerment a lot more in engineering because it's already dominated by men. And if you see by stats itself, you at the very least need about 30% for people to be heard. So if we don't give the tool to them, just now as I show you the trees, they are already there. We are not giving them the tool. So they will not be able to get the justice, like as what Shikin mentioned, right? So it becomes even more important because the parity in the male-dominated world, the gap is even more huge compared to other areas. And I have definitely felt a lot of, I've had an awesome career, but it's not always awesome, right? We show us all beautiful pictures, but you have to do a lot of the things at the back. I'm sure all the women can attach to it, and even men, right? Everybody goes through it, but we have a lot of different challenges to make sure that we get to where we want to be.
Yeah, I think you are correct, Dr. Vimi, that the retaining of women in engineering field, I think that's the trilemma at the moment. All those, I think that's true, and that's very correct. Yeah.
All right, I think it depends on where you are in the world. In Malaysia, we still have a lot of female who's taking science STEMs. But when I was doing my PhD, one of my team member from Poland, and he said to me, "You must be the only one, the only female in your department." I said, "No, half of our staff in the faculty are female." And then he was shocked because he thought that in Poland, he said in Poland, nobody, no female, like, engineers who will join the engineering field. All right, so we have a question here from Nor Zulaifa. Can you please share your life experience on how did you reach your level of success, given the sectors and gender gap, especially in engineering?
Perhaps I can go first.
Yeah,
this is a typical question that I get asked.
Yes.
So I'll share with you one simple story. When I started off, I was working for Intel, and I was dispatched to US to be in the equipment engineering team to do the design work, as I mentioned, right? So when I went there, I was the only female Asian engineer. There were 9 other male American engineers in that team because it's very niche, right? Even the first day when I went in, those times we have emails, but they haven't got the video chat and all, right? So every time they capture my name, they will put your first name and your last name first, right? Ramasamy. So they keep putting Ramasamy and Ramasamy. So when I appeared at the place, this project manager came out in Chandler, Arizona. I was already at the lobby waiting for him. He comes out, he looks here, he looks there. He sees me, he doesn't even notice me, he goes back. Then he comes back again after 5 minutes. And then he looks up and he's 6 feet something, right? And then he looks up, looks down, and then goes back again. So at the third time when he came, I stood up and I said, "Excuse me, are you Phil Martin?" And then he looks at me, he's like, "Yes." Then I said, "By the way, I'm Vimi Ramasamy." He was so shocked. His jaw dropped because he was expecting a Ramasamy guy. Can you imagine? That is the level of expectation. So when I started working with them, when you do equipment design, of course, you have to also work with the machine because Intel is very high tech. We cannot buy off the shelf solutions. So we work with the supplier to create the niche. Testing is obviously the secret niche for Intel, right? So we are in that environment to go ahead and do the design. Can you imagine those guys never let me touch the machine? They think I am not capable, they think that I don't want to have my fingers dirty or anything. Right? Yeah. So there was once, I waited for like 2-3 weeks. It was so annoying because I was just watching and not doing anything. And here in my head, I've got, oh my God, I know how to fix this. I know what to do that, right? So at one day, I decided I had enough. So all of them went back home. We worked late. In US, if you're doing all this, we work pretty late too. So they all went back home. I stayed back. I stayed back. I fixed the machine until wee hours of the morning. And then went back straight to the hotel, took my shower and came back again. And then they all came and then they were so surprised. They're like, how on earth this happened, right? This was a technical problem we are trying to fix. We couldn't fix it. What was the issue and how come it got fixed, right? And then I looked at them and I said, this was the issue. This is how I fixed it. By the way, thank you. I used your tools without your permission. So they were so shocked. But that moment, that's when they realized that I was capable by doing that. And after that, it just kicked off, right? We became so close until now. It's already 20 over years. They are still in touch with me, my core team there. So what I wanted to share is it takes time for us to get, no matter what you're doing, you have to persevere. But how far are you, me, willing to make sure we push? Because in my, as I said, close to 15 to 17 years, mainly I only worked with men. But when I take a look at it, it's not that they are bad. It's just that they have a totally different perspective. I'm sure you all know men are from Venus, men are from Mars and women are from Venus, right? So
different planet.
They think totally differently, whereas we think different. So hence the miscommunication. But if we specify to them clearly, exactly, and show us that we can persevere, that has actually helped me all the while. And no fear, right? You believe in your capability. And that's, again, coming back to the belief that I said. Because we take everything as our family. When you work, the whole entire becomes your family. So we are leveraging the strength. We have a policy of integrity and commitment. If you say you're going to do it, you will do it, right? And that is what we want everybody. So everybody's value will be different. You need to be authentic with your value, and that will come out. People will see, and you just have to push it.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Vimi. So maybe you have to prove yourself first, and then people will start to believe. All right, Dr. Shikin, any experience that you want to share?
My life journey is, I think it's quite straightforward. I belong to a very niche. I think the same as Dr. Vimi. My subspecialty is doing electromagnetic transient analysis. So that's very that's not much people doing it. Not men, not women. So I don't have much way of proving myself. But what I do to get to here is that I always make myself present. I always make myself to the front. I don't say no. I always say, okay, we can, all the challenges that have been put to me is I think we can do this, and always because I'm a person who do work. It's not about getting that salary month in, month out. It's not. I'm not that person. I have the enjoyment of doing it. So I put that core skill and core desire in myself to put myself forward and in doing work and to get myself noticed. And I think that's all. It's really I think what that all resonate to what Dr. Vimi said. It takes time. It takes time for you to be heard, but you need to place yourself in that position so that you can be heard and you can be accepted. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Nurashikin, be heard, accepted. Okay. Yes. We have a question from your lecturer last time, right? Ex-lecturer.
Yes.
Prof. Suhaina. So, Prof, I ask you a question. What would be your advice to young engineers who want to work abroad?
My advice is that you need to be brave. You have that brave spirit in you, and I think one is it confidence. You need to carry that confidence with you, and I think being a woman is you have that communication skills embedded in yourself. So you need just to try to make it more visible, that communication skills. If you don't have, you need to learn to have a very good communication skills. And I think I've told you before, like now, last time, engineering stands on the same fundamental, so it doesn't change anywhere you go. So you need to make yourself very good, have a very good foundation first and foremost, and then you need to have a very good communication skills, verbal and written. I think that is that three advice that I can give you right now. If somebody looking ways of doing work or going abroad, or looking for some companies outside of Malaysia, I think these three key skills, I think, is the best thing that you can present to the company, and hopefully, I think it will be those what they seek in a person, and in an engineer specifically.
I must say, I must add on that we
Yeah.
also need that for people who are working here.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's
Very
the core
important.
skill that you need everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. I think engineering doesn't cease border for me. Make yourself good. Make yourself have a very good foundation. Listen to your professors, and it started at the university. Trust me.
Started at university. Okay, guys.
Yes.
Who are still in the university, make sure you have a high confidence in yourself and have a good communication skill. All right, so let's move to our next question. Now we understand about the women empowerment, but why do you think women empowering women is more powerful, or is there any difference?
I think I'll give you a brief answer for this so that we can, you know what is it? Again, referring to the slide that I shared with you with the justice, right? It is very important for women to empower women. Just like Shikin shared, there was no role model for her when she said that she wanted to see an engineer, right? She only saw lecturers. So we need the women role model. A lot of the time, we are able to grow by default is by looking at somebody else, by having that role model. So we need women to empower women, because we need the women to carry the voice. If women are already at the leadership, they are able to share their thought, their journey, just like what we are doing here right now, right? And that is even more powerful, because as a woman, we understand the heart, the grievances, a lot of other things that's running in a woman's mind versus a man, right? And I feel that gives the power to transform. Shikin, how about you?
Yes. Okay, here's the sidekick coming in again. Definitely, Dr. Vimi, isn't it more endearing to have a person? I think this is my quote that time. It is more endearing to have a person who looks like you, who have the same cultural background as yours, supporting you. For me, it does make a difference. It's no longer about acceptance. It's no longer about acceptance. But it comes to women, empower women. It's about being stronger. It's about being confident and being able. That person shows to another. So that I think it's a very brief answer from me.
Yes.
It's wonderful to have. It's much more different to have women empower women.
Yep.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, women. I think because of when women, we see that, oh yeah, like for example, women who are wearing scarf, and then you're like, oh yeah, you also wearing scarf, and then there's no religious
Yes.
discrimination. So I also can do the same as you. So
That's it. You feel able. That enabling feeling. That you're feeling stronger. I think it's. I think it's wonderful. Yes.
You connect to those people who have the same look, as you said, ideology, right? The same thought.
ideology,
Yeah.
because sometimes sometimes for Muslim especially, sometimes you've been discriminated from the way you wear. So maybe
Yeah.
that's why sometimes when we have somebody who are wearing scarf and then still working the same a big company, that is like a wow to us, and then we want to
Yes.
follow their steps.
I remember telling in a interview there's a women empowerment interview in my office. I told them I am a walking diversity. I'm Asian, I'm Muslim, I'm a woman, and I am a mother. So I'm a walking diversity if you see me. So yeah, that's it. It's really empowering, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Back to
All right,
Dr.
Dr.
Zai.
Vimi. Just to ask you, although so many efforts have been done to increase women in leadership role, the gap persists. In your opinion, what needs to be done to move the needle on this?
If you take a look at it, right, in Malaysia context specifically, because we have probably the largest audience here, again, a lot of time, we look at the gender gaps index, right? If you take a look at the gender gap index, our empowerment, political empowerment, is extremely low. If you look at our economic participation, if you see, 1 is the ideal number that we need to go if you look at the indicator, right? And if you look at the health survivor, we are pretty good. If you look at the education attainment, again, you see so many students who are females are already there. But unfortunately, the political empowerment, the women are educated, but we are not leveraging that part of it into going into a bigger portfolio to go ahead and empower folks. So it is very important that one of the things that we need to do, right? How we want to create empowerment. We talk about what we can do in terms of empowerment. And of course, in the government aspect or in a larger, broader space, right? One of the things I've done my research on gender and organizational development before, and it actually tells that a woman who is gender conscious, who really is aware about her own rights, is able to give her voice not only for herself, but for others. Hence, having that capability, like for example, like even this PAS that we are having today, is a very important avenue that we can create that awareness for all the rest of the people who are watching it. So how we want to move the needle is we want to create the awareness for people to understand what is it that we are looking at. And as a woman, we spoke a lot about empowering women. And again, I refer back to the justice slide. I think that is given. We need to push for the right tools, for the right opportunities. And the awareness is important so that we can push forward that. And another part that I want to say, so this is a broader space, right? What can you all do in your own house, right? In your own space? How can you go ahead and empower other women? Very important. We as a leader, we need to make sure we listen to other people. We start giving them the opportunity, because empowerment is building another person's capability, value, as you said just now, right? You see somebody connect, you feel confident. How do you build that confidence? How do you give that confidence to another person? Listening is very, very important. So people feel that they are heard. We are giving them the opportunity. And as a leader, take every effort to give that opportunity. For the women, if you are able to do that, right, it's very, very important, very powerful when you do that. And another fundamental thing that I realized across my journey, you know, a lot of women have struggled to be where they are. And then so many of the women, just now I shared you the quote, right? A special place in hell. Because they feel that they have struggled a lot, they want other people to struggle as well. And that is the strange thing, right? We have struggled. So what we want to do, we want to make it much more easier. I'm not setting all, but some of them, I have myself seen that. So how we enable else. And at times, it also means we step aside. We let somebody else to take the lead. Many a times we know that we can do it close blindly, but we want to give an opportunity to somebody else. We step aside, and that is the power, right? As we give those kind of opportunity, people can grow. And to me, I think we should start from very young. I can share with you, like my kids, just now, Shikin, you said 10 and 8, right? I have 11 and 13, both daughters. So it is so funny. They see me speaking and doing all this engagement, and they say, Amma, I also want to go ahead and give talks. I also want to share my ideas. What can you do? So, of course, I want them to build their confidence. So I say, okay, you go and create your own platform. So now they have created their own platform. They are going ahead with their own friends, having the conversations on what they feel at their age on how to address the pandemic. So that is the one that we need to do. They feel confident. Okay, they have given the time. And we as a sister, as a mother, whatever, right? I'm proud to say we walk the talk. I have to give a shout out to my younger sister, who's also a power engineer, Deputy Dean at University Tenaga, Dr. Agileswari. I'm sure she's listening to here. So that's another thing, right? She sees me, I'm older sister. So she's seen, okay, this person works, so we can go ahead. So I have another niece who's a petroleum engineer. They see us and then they go ahead and choose the work. So this is what we need to do on how we want to empower women. And this will help to change the needle. You change it, small effect from your family unit, it will create a ripple effect outside.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Dr. Vimi. Okay, so we have a question here from the audience. Before we go to Dr. Nurashikin, question to Nurashikin. What were the challenges did you face working as a foreigner in the UK? Being a lady, and how is engineering look at from a female perspective? Is there any discrimination?
It's the
challenges.
Question. Yes, what were the challenges that I had working as a foreigner? Well, we are lucky first and foremost because Malaysian English is the second language, so there's no language barrier. I tell you here because some of the European from Spanish or Italian, their English is not it's not as good as us. So breaking the language barrier is not the problem for us. For me, at least. But I think challenges working as foreigner is values. I think the values that we have and I personally we like to have that personal touch or personal going with your colleagues on but I think this does not they keep things all very professionals. So sometimes you feel a bit detached with something that I think one of the challenges that I have because I like it to be very sometimes very personal. I think it's from me because I need that satisfaction. But some don't see this and they always look things very professionally and everything is separate from personal life or and work. So other than that, I think as a foreigner, again, I think I'm very lucky, because when I went into this world, it's already progressing into that diversity and inclusiveness. my company, Mott McDonald, is a champion in diversity and inclusiveness. So everything are treated equally, and everyone are treated as a person. They put the person first rather than where you come from or what your language are, how your skin looks like, or how you dress. That is not important. The most important is how you are treated as a person, how you bring yourself as a person. So I think this world is moving towards the correct direction towards that. So challenges as a foreigner, especially in engineering, I need to emphasize that engineering doesn't see border. So it doesn't really differentiate person, because I work with various people from all over the world. My client right now, I think in the Middle East, in Australia, they are in Australia, but they are Indian, China man, and Indian, and then the one in Qatar, he's from Dutch. So it's different people, but on different region of the world. But it's there's I don't think there's a word foreigner anymore in engineering. You can see different people from different part of the world at the different wrong part of the world. So it's so that's very less challenges. And being a lady, perspective of looking at, yes, I think English, especially in the UK, they don't have any they do support women empowerment, they do support all this, but the perspective is different, because the perspective for them is women have a certain job that they can do, that they should do, like teaching or being a doctor, and said that, and doing engineering. For them, they look it as though that you are holding machines, but it's not that. So the older people in the UK, they look at that as if that engineering is not for female still. But I think it's I think that's why we are in the UK right now, working very hard at the grassroots to tell people that engineering does not look like a man with a mustache, wearing a hard hat, and holding a spanner. So that's I think that's what we are doing at the moment. I think hopefully I can answer that question, but unfortunately I don't think I can give a very what you're looking for in challenges as a foreigner, because for myself, I think engineering doesn't see border. Yes.
So you feel like home, or you feel like home when you are in the UK. No discrimination.
Yes. No, there's no discrimination. My company even provide us, because there's 600 person in the office, and there's only 6 Muslim, but they provide us with musalla, a place to pray, and a place to take our ablution, a specific place for us. So that I fortunately, I think I'm very fortunate in that part.
Yeah,
Yes.
you are lucky.
Yes.
All right. Okay, thank you, Shikin, for the sharing. Okay, Dr. Vimi, there's a question for you from the audience, from Ashab. All right. I can guarantee Dr. Vimi will not be going to hell. Question to Vimi: how do you move from engineering to managing a company, and what challenges did you face with that?
All right. I feel very good that certainly I'm not going to go to hell. So I'm making all the stuff that is required, right? But I want to also share something here, right? When we share about that we want to empower women, we want to give that, there's never in my mind that we want to discriminate men. I have mentored many engineering men in my career, and engineering or leaders who are men. And I must say there are so many men in my life who have helped me in where I am right now, starting with my tiger dad, my brother, my husband, and my brother-in-laws. So definitely they have given me the perspective the confidence, and again, as I say, the family unit, that is very essential because they don't see you as just now, like what Shikin mentioned, right? It's not like an engineer with the mustache or whatever. It's just a job and you are a person. And I'm very grateful for that. So I wanted to share with you the journey for engineering. Of course, I did in engineering solid 17 to 18 years. And I wanted to move up the career. At that time, I was already leading engineering team across globally, R&D staff of team in Intel. And I wanted to go up, and I had a vision. I wanted to be an MD, right, of a company, and how I wanted to go ahead. And one of my mentor at that time, I must say, there are very, very few female leaders on top of me who look like me, Asian or anything, right? So, but I had other men. And when I was in US, there are a lot of people that I've got accounted. And I had one of my mentor who sat down and he looked at me and he said, "Say, Vimi, you're damn good in your engineering, but you only know one engineering. And when I asked you, you said you want to manage a company, but you don't have any other skills because you only know one. There is no horizontal." So I'm like, huh? So it actually took me some time to really accept that, because, you know, a lot of times engineers, we have this arrogance in us. This is what we want to do. But I realized that this guy who told me was an engineering department head as well. He said, "Hey, Vimi, you have other capabilities. You can lead, you can talk, you can be the voice, but you need to diversify your career." And with that, after 17, 18 years, Intel was a great platform that allowed me to go ahead and take up a different role totally. I went and did operations, shared services operations, and you wouldn't believe it, for for HR. Everybody got a shock because they thought I could not last. Some people thought I was running away, but the thing that got me the job, I told them in Intel, 70% of the employees were engineers. If I'm an engineer, I know exactly what they want. So when I went in, my engineering thought process really changed the whole dynamics of how the operation, this is delivery part, right? How it ran. In fact, I drew a flow chart for the payroll system using an electrical circuit, because I thought you have capacity as a bank. You are flowing money there, and here is electrons. You have approval, here we have resistance. There you have a happy customer, here we close the circuit, right? So when you are having an engineering thought process, it's so interesting that our brain really works in a different manner, where we can harness it and connect the dots for different stuff. And you can see the diversity that you are able to bring in. So when I ran that, obviously it became really very different. When it's different, you can really achieve way more better. Yeah. Within 2-3 years, I got poached. Somebody called me and said, "Hey, we are having this data analytics company opening up. With your engineering background and your ability to run a shared services, because they're going to run it as a global services for data analytics, why don't you come and interview for us?" And you see, because I took the leap of moving from the comfort zone, it's very important. But you need to know, again, career, for me, it's not career ladder, it's a career jungle. And everywhere you go, it's you learn something. And it's very important, what is it that you're learning? And to me, every day is a learning opportunity. Today I come in here, I'm learning from Shikin, I'm learning from Dr. Zai, I'm learning from all the staffs that we're with. And if we have the thought process, it will get you to go wherever. As answering to the question, how did I get the role? That's how I did it. So I went in, they had like 9 people that they had interviewed for this role that I got. And within 2 weeks, they were telling me, the HR person is telling me, you know, the guy who actually interviews, 10 minutes in the interview, he will just stop because he's a foreigner, he's from UK, very abrupt. But I had the edge because I worked in US for cumulatively 7 years. I worked in Japan about a year. I traveled quite a bit. So that exposure, like what Shikin has shared, is important because it gives you a totally different perspective, right? And you get the opportunity. So to me, very important, you have the vision. That's something my dad has told me. You have to have a vision where you want to go. And then you start building. When you think about that vision, your glass is half full, you will start attracting all the things that you are thinking about and will help you navigate. And that's the advice that I give. You need to have a vision. You need to really put your heart and soul on it. And you have to persevere. It doesn't matter if you fail. I come here, I talk, it doesn't mean that I have not had bad days. I had worse days. I'm like, oh my God, what I have done, right? But the important thing is, it doesn't matter how many times you fall, it's how fast you rise. That's the important. It doesn't matter where you start. What it matters is the journey and where you end. And you need to be happy, right? I hope I answered the question for that audience.
All right, thank you, Dr. Vimi. So, for the audience, I'm sure most of us are in engineering field. So, you will not be regret taking engineering because you can be an HR manager, you can be an accountant, even though you are taking engineering, because we have that critical thinking skills. So we can go anywhere, like Dr. Vimi. All right, okay.
Yeah, actually, you can be a doctor too, right? Because they have organs and you're having a blood flow, right?
But not
Dr. Vimi.
All right. Okay, so let's move to the next question. Okay, let's ask Ms. Shikin first.
Yeah.
As we go through this COVID pandemic, it seems apparent that those countries which are led by women leaders, such as Denmark, Finland, Iceland, New Zealand, Germany, and Slovakia, they have been internationally recognized for the effectiveness of their response to a pandemic. So, which I believe it definitely proves the capability of women as leaders. However, of course, strangely and interestingly, there are just about 29% of women leaders globally for the past 2 years. What are your advice in helping them to smash the glass ceiling to those aspiring younger women that will be our leaders of tomorrow?
Oh, so that's a good question and quite long. And you miss one. Our Chief Minister Nicola Sturgeon of Scotland. I think she's doing a great job as well. Yes. Yes. I think it's important and it's very good. You showed this. I think the slides showing all these women leaders. They paved the ways. They showed us that they are leaders and they can do it. That's one thing very important of these slides. And I think one. I'm going to as I said, I'm going to answer this very brief. My advice is upskill that learn communication skills. Communication skills it's I think it's one of the core for you to become a leader. You need to be very you need to be very confident. That confident when you're able to speak out whatever in your mind, it will help your confidence. So I think that's a very short advice from me. Learn communication skills, learn how to bring yourself forward, learn to present yourself. And I think we need to take advantage of our emotional intelligence that we have as a women.
All right, thank you, Ms. Shikin. Dr. Vimi, why there's only 29% of women leaders in the world? And how do we be helping them to smash the glass ceiling?
As what Shikin has shared as well, and as how I shared my question about being an MD, right? One of the things that we need to do is leverage our strength. And if you look at the leadership trait, like everybody will know, The doctrine for leadership probably came out in early 19,000s, and they are very masculine in nature. They talk about transactional type of leaderships, right? And then they have different leadership, and then they have laissez-faire. Then they have servant leadership. You follow everything, right? But if you look at it, if you really look at women itself, and just now you showed the picture, they are transformational. And we need to harness the instinct capability of the women. You know, women leaders, if I take a look at it, they are able to feel with empathy. So they can lead with feeling with empathy.
Yes.
They're able to think with intelligence using the resources because they like to connect with a lot of things, right? And they like to act urgently, you know, like your mom, right? She wants something, she wants it done now, right? So if you take a look at it, all this instinct, I mean, of course, it's literally taken, it seems like a joke, but this instinct, that's actually causing a lot of the women leaders who are in the pandemic situation, they become way better because they are thinking transformationally. So, of course, we haven't come to the idea because there's a lot of other people who have a stereotype thought on what leadership means to them. And as we go these years, it will change, but it was going to take some time. The question is, what are we going to do, right? What are we going to do to smash it? So how are we going to enable another woman to take that role? So we should start from the house itself. Before, especially for the young engineers, before you get married, make sure you choose the right husband. Have the right conversation, right? Have the right conversation and expectation. Share. And as what Shikin said, communication is not only important at job. It's important in your family itself. How are you communicating with your spouse? Right now, I find a lot of men, I must say I'm blessed to have good husbands and good brother-in-laws who share the burden with us, right? I'm sure many of you have that. So if we start doing that, and you know, we are mothers who rock the cradle, we can rock the world too. So what are we doing nurturing the young children? To a boy, we need to start telling them that you need to do all the things that the women need to do. There should not be any gender discrimination at the young age itself. Similarly, for a woman, that needs to happen. If we cultivate from young, and then as we, of course, the leaders, the rest of the people who are already no longer young, right? I'm telling them so that they can make sure they change the next generation. Because right now, if I take a look at it, I get very pissed off, excuse me. When you look at the year one book or nursery book, right? They show a mother's picture, a mother always in the kitchen, cooking. A father is at work. We are already ingraining a stereotype that we no longer want. We need to start changing that, right? If we build that from young, people will know that everyone is equal. We'll get that. But you're in between that, what do you do, right? And that's, again, similar thing like what I mentioned earlier on the leaders, right? That you need to find your value. When you know your value, that will give you confidence. When you have the confidence, you are able to articulate yourself. It doesn't matter whether your communication is not so good or your language, that's not a problem, but how carry yourself. That is the most important thing. And you can smash, persevere, right? If you set a goal, go get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for your very inspiring. Now it's already 4:24. We have only 6 minutes left before the time is up. So the time flies so fast. This topic is very interesting. I mean, I have like a few more questions to ask you, but time MVS doesn't permit us, so we have to call it a day. But before I call it a day, I would like you to give one last inspiring, motivating, and powerful words to the audience. We start with anyone. Shikin first, maybe?
Yeah. It's very short. Women out there, you are entitled to your dreams. So whatever you want, go for it. So I think that's
awesome. Dream big.
Yes. I think that's all. Dr. Vimi.
Vimi,
Yes.
your last word.
Okay, I'm going to share with you this slide of the elephant because I feel all the women are like elephant. They have the power, the strength, but the small chain is tying them out. So you need to break away from that chain to transform yourself. If you can click further, Dr. Fadila, I can get the rest of the text. There's a few things that I wanted to leave there. Are you able to click it to get, I think there was some.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it. There you go.
Know your value, find your voice. Again, this is a summary of what we have discussed, right?
Yes.
Vision your success. Persevere vigorously. Just do it with your full heart. And the final last thing is give abundantly. I believe as you give abundantly, you will receive more. So we need to do this sharing, this coaching, this mentoring, whatever, so we can lift everyone up together. That's it.
All right. Thank you very much to our very powerful, motivating, inspiring women. I am empowered. I am inspired.
Awesome.
I'm sure the rest of the audience are inspired and empowered as well. So thank you very much. So I leave it. I give it back the session to Dr. Fadila.
Thanks, Dr. Vimi. Thanks, Dr. Zai.
Thanks.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you very much to all speakers, Dr. Vimi, Ms. Shakin, and thank you as well to our moderator today, Dr. Zai Fatima Ali. Thank you to all participants as well for joining us today. We are very sorry you cannot publish all the questions because of the time, but hopefully we can see you again in our another event in the future. So before we end our session today, we would like to play our montage from IEEE PAS. So thank you again and bye-bye.
Bye.